former ministers, Dr. Ramcharan Mahat and Dr. Minendra Rizal, Bhuban Bhattaji, startup pitches, ladies and gentlemen. We have, as a nation, never actually been an entrepreneurial society. Many years ago, when King Prithvinarayan Shah unified Nepal, came to Kathmandu, made Kathmandu the capital city, he realized that there was this void of entrepreneurial essence in the society. So what he did was Nepal, mind you, was a closed nation, a closed society. He allowed Rajasthani, Marwari community who were known for their entrepreneurship to come to Nepal and start businesses in order to start the seed of teaching Nepalis how to do business. We were basically agrarian or we were traders. But not much has changed. It's just been a few years now that this whole concept of startup entrepreneurship has started to emanate in Nepal. And that has a lot to do with accelerator programs, incubators that have come up to teach people how to actually start business. I have always believed that entrepreneurship is not something that can be taught. I've always believed that entrepreneurship is something innate. It comes from within. It is a person's passion that he can translate into, his ideas translated into a business case. So what we can do as mentors is try to teach entrepreneurship. Now it's good to see, having gone through 4 or 5 pitches, see that the Nepali youths are alive and thinking. It's always a good start. And as earlier mentioned by Mr. Hari Sharma, you should try to stay away from cut and paste business, because one thing that you have to understand is that, like every child thinks that his mother is the most beautiful woman in the world, an entrepreneur, a person who is thinking of starting a business, will think that his startup is the most wonderful idea in the world. And that's not always the case. What you need to do is try to convince the investor. So I'm going to try to give you some tips from an investor's point of view of what we are looking for. Okay? Number 1, an investor invests in an idea so that there is going to be a return in the investment. If the investor doesn't see that this idea is not translated to profit, he is not going to come, regardless of what you may think. As mentioned many times earlier by various speakers before me, there is a huge failure rate of startup business around the world. And in Nepal, we have just begun. In the past 4 years, I've gone through thousands of companies. I mean, it must have been 15,000 startup companies that I've gone through, including scale-up capitalism. In my own business, out of the 3,500 companies that we went through in the past 3 years, we have invested in 8, and there are another 4 more that we're looking at. Look at the odds. It's huge. And the main reason behind that is we see that there's no return in the business. That if we don't see a return, we do not invest in that business. So the other thing besides capital is, you see, how disruptive can this business be tomorrow by competition? One of the things that I noticed after going through hundreds and thousands, hundreds of companies is that research is limited. I mean, I don't know whether it's a lack of availability of data, but the ones who do start their businesses do very little research in seeing how the sustainability of his idea or her idea is going to be. So, if a company that you start up can be disrupted easily tomorrow, then, all that effort that you've put in is just going to go to waste. And the investor is going to definitely look at that. Furthermore, one of the difficult parts of doing business in a country like Nepal for startup is that our intellectual property rights are very, very weak. That means tomorrow, someone can come in, steal your idea, and start something parallelly, and you have no recourse at all. So what do? You have someone, you put years and years into the business. It's like in India, Flipkart, okay? Flipkart created the way for Amazon in India. if Amazon wanted to just do away with Flipkart, they probably would have sustained with the enormous amount of capital that they have. But they realized that, in this business you have to take it over. So for $16 billion, Flipkart was bought by Amazon. So, I mean, there are incredible stories, but again, we should be realistic. We are not a population of 1.3 billion people. We are a population of 30 million people. See, the chances of a bigger player coming and buying us out is very rare. So whatever we do start, we have to be able to be better than the rest, and we have to put a harder sort of effort into it. But the failure rate of doing business in Nepal, especially for startups, the cost of failure is very low. That is, your legal fees are lower, your rent is lower, electricity is cheap, etc. So if you should fail in Nepal, you would not be spending so much money as you would have spent in the West or even in India. So this is a good platform to start that. Okay. One of the reasons that entrepreneurship has not really thrived is that we need to demystify the old generation's thoughts on entrepreneurship. This jagged mentality, 9-to-5 job. If you say to your parents or your grandparents, I'm going to start a business, they'll say, jagged. But that slowly has to change. But one thing you have to understand that it is not easy. See, now, how many companies have actually really gone beyond the threshold and really made it in Nepal? I can name a few. You've got Jaywalk, you've got G2 Hawkeye, but these are companies that started in America and invested in over here. And they had the linkages there that they were. So the point here is that you need to create an idea that can service the wider picture. It can be an ancillary to a regional sort of business. I'll give you an example. We normally do not do startups. Most of the businesses that we've invested in are scale-up capital. But now, there's this interpretation of what you mean by startup. Over here in Nepal, when you talk about startup, everyone thinks it's this ICT business. A startup can be anything. It could be vegetable vendors. Earlier, there were a couple on how to do waste management. So we are just about ready to invest in Nepal's largest bio digester, and it's called waste digester, as well as it's a gas company. It's a manure-built biogas company that would provide 15 tons of fertilizer and 200 cylinders a day. Now this not only will do import substitution, in a small scale, we will be importing 200 cylinders less per day from India when we start production. Okay. The other company that we're investing in is a bio pellet business, which is basically using forest waste and compacting it into pellets so that it substitutes coal. There will be no carbon footprints. So, these are innovations for Nepal. It may not be innovative for the rest of the world, but it is the first of its kind in Nepal, which would add enormous value to society because it will help the environment, and it will also help in import substitution. So, these are startups. They have not started production, but they have put in a lot of money into the business. Now, as young people who are trying to do startup business, please remember that no one is going to come and open their wallets for you, regardless of how good your idea is. First, you need to bootstrap. Now, what does bootstrapping mean? Bootstrapping means that you need to harness every resource that you have. Go out and try to get that capital from your friends, family. If you have some security, go to the banks. Demonstrate that you are passionate and you are serious enough to have done that in order to make your business successful in the first round. Okay? In the second round, you come and pitch to us and say, well, this is how much I've done. I put Okay, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs from my own pockets. Now I need another 30 lakhs to scale this to the second level. Then the investor is going to look seriously at you. If you think that it's going to be a handout, which I hear a lot, what I hear is, oh, I can't do anything because there's no money. I mean, have you tried? I mean, no one is going to, I mean, how can some investor believe you without your idea even succeeding in the first step? Okay? So this is reality, this is the real world.